MAGA-aligned figures and commentators, including Elon Musk, have framed empathy as a fundamental weakness or toxic force threatening Western civilization. This perspective, often termed a war on empathy, this is through NPR, is a driving force to stripping away LGBTQ plus rights. The way that ICE is conducting things. There is if you go deep enough into, I'm on a lot of like Telegram chats, so I'm in a lot of places on the internet that I probably shouldn't be, but I like to keep an eye on what people are talking about, right? And you see in there all the time they're talking about empathy being the disease of Western culture. It's like, it is what Verhoeven is warning us about. Like, when you start to strip away the connections that bind us together as person-to-person community members, parts of a society, that is when the systems of fascism, the systems of destruction, are able to perpetuate themselves unchallenged.
Yeah, but I think so. One thing that's interesting about war, especially under the guise of fascism, is that it clarifies. War brings clarity, war brings resolve, war allows you to do things and gives you like this moral high ground, right? So as you're watching the movie, as you're watching Starship Troopers, there's this sense of clarity that you go, oh, we do have to go out there. We've got to go out to kill those bugs or they're going to come for us, right? And it's, we give like full permission for the other in those scenarios, right? Because it's an alien. It's like, oh, this thing.
But even what is an alien? I mean, this is the late 90s. This is pre 9/11. And right now we are in a scenario where, did you hear the justifications that Rubio and these guys have put out about the stuff going on with Iran? They're saying, well, Israel was going to attack Iran.
Right.
So if that happened, Iran would have tried to attack our military bases. So we decided to attack first so that they couldn't attack our military bases in case Israel attacked. And you're sitting there going like, this is the most Starship Troopers ass. It's like, they cared so much, like, at least back in the George W. Bush era, they gave somewhat of a shit about trying to convince us that their lies were true. Like, we've gotten so deep into the actual like Verhoeven of it.
No, and we feel safety because there's deterrence, and that's a morally clear place for us to be. So don't be worried about those casualties, because it was mandatory for us to be able to control that situation. And there's no more important way to control a situation than to be able to come to it first, right? And so now you see a lot of the acceptance of, hey, this first strike, this first go at it, where you're not worried about there actually having been a war, right? So the Department of War, like classically renamed, which is exactly dystopian and 100% Verhoeven, right? That's exactly what you see there. You see those actions taking a real form. The effects of that are what are valuable and interesting, right? Because what happens to a society that agrees that deterrence in that form is important and that you always strike first? And if those things are true, then what happens next? And I think that's where we tend to look at these problems from that almost myopic perspective. Oh, well, now we see something that's obviously wrong. They did this and it was not necessarily the right move in that moment, right?
Yeah.
But then you have the other consequences that are going to come as a result of that, and you could have thought about those, but we didn't.